Welcome to Kier's Kingdom Connection, featuring
my dad, Reggie Key, and
my dad, Kier Hopkins Smith.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. A little something on that one.
Somebody in Belize
Yeah.
was like,
Somebody you said, did you feel that? I felt that.
the butterfly, the
Butterfly
flap. By the time,
you said, you said.
I'm sorry, my fault. We got excited.
Yeah, we did.
This Kier and Kier's
Kingdom Connection.
Kingdom Connection. Round 2.
Round 2, fight. Fight.
Yes, sir. So, okay, we got to take a moment.
Okay, all right. Take your moment, bro, and give the people what we talking about for this one.
So I am seeing the end, the premature, but hopefully not permanent end of a very recently established series that I was doing with my son, as in conjunction with Kier doing it with his son.
Right.
Called Tears of the Sun. Right. Tiers. And I called it yesterday with my son. We're not going to do it anymore because he's not ready.
Okay.
And he told me who he was. And Maya Angelou said, when somebody tell you who they are, you should believe them.
You should believe them.
And he told me when I came to him with this idea that was yours,
right?
That had to take a moment to evolve and get to a different place because you intentionally and originally wanted to do it with your father,
right?
And then we turned and said, okay, the availability is not there. Let's shift it to, and that's why it's Tears of the Sun. Let's shift it to your son. Right. And I was like, ooh, that's a dope idea. Like, we could do it together. And so when I presented this idea to the younger, because remember our sons had the same name,
right?
He was like, Dad, I don't really want to do this, but I'll do it. And sometimes when I hear statements like that, like I'm like, oh, okay, the willingness. Like maybe we can get in on the willingness. It'll stretch him. He's coming into his senior year. He needs to get comfortable with getting in front of a camera, doing. Right. It's going to be so beneficial for all parties involved. But as we continue to do them, I remember the first couple of episodes, you could just see he was closed off.
Yeah, you can see it.
And I would talk to him afterwards, like, hey, bro, like, loosen up. It's okay. I know this is not your vein. I know this is where I thrive and you don't, but just loosen up. Just open up a little bit. And it took this week for me to see, without getting into all the details, that he's just not ready.
Yeah.
And I called your son to get some perspective as I was trying to figure out what my next move was supposed to be. And I said, hey, Josiah, the elder, if you were, because he's a junior in college now.
Right.
I said, if you were a junior in high school and your father presented this with you, would you have done it? And he was like, nah. And he didn't say it in a disrespectful way. He was just like,
yeah.
I just wasn't.
He wasn't in that headspace.
Yeah, he wasn't.
And exactly. I ain't going to lie to you. I wouldn't have been in that headspace with him.
That's good.
I'm going to let you know that.
Yeah. And so I said, okay. And then I called another man of God who has a son who's in his mid-20s. And I knew him as a teenager, and I was like, "Would you have done this with this man of God father that you got?" And he was like, "Yeah, but no, but yeah." I was like, "Yeah, okay." I got my answer.
I got the answer.
And so it settled me in my spirit. But here's the thing that we as fathers and husbands struggle with sometimes: ending a thing before it's time.
Right.
Like I think that we're so like, no, we got to see this thing through. That when the option to end the thing early, and I'm even hearing, consider to count the cost, right? Did I not count the cost? Because now it looks like I'm not finishing this tower.
Right.
And, now somebody may be looking like, see, man, this dude couldn't even finish this series. But it's not about whoever.
Right.
It's not about the critic. It's not the critic who counts, right?
Right.
But for me, I'm like, man, we didn't finish this how I thought we would. Yeah. And the thing of it is, like, it's not finished. He will eventually be a junior in college somewhere, and he may be in the headspace, or it may take him a little longer. Either way, I cut him loose. I literally told him last night, you know what, you're off the hook, and it's almost a double entendre because he was a little off the hook.
Yeah.
And how he responded to me that caused me to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna let you off the hook. And so I just wanted to talk about it because it is kind of a sad moment, and some of the things that I wanted to say to him, Holy Spirit just was like, you don't need to say that. But I'm gonna say him here. And what I wanted to say to him was, I was like, Kier wanted to do this with his father, who's still alive, but unavailable. And I was like, I can't do this with my father because he's not alive and completely unavailable.
Right.
And so you can't talk to a person about what they don't have while they have it. They just can't wrap their mind around it.
Right.
And I'm not a proponent of saying things like, if I were dead, if I were gone, I'm not wishing that on myself. I'm not wishing that on him.
Right.
But it's tough though. And in truth, what I told him was, you know what, you did better than me. Because if I were your age and my dad would have came to me, I would have immediately told him, like, no thanks.
Nope.
I was like, at least you were upfront with me and told me, I don't want to, but I'll do it.
Right.
Because that showed a level of respect that he was trying to have for me, but he just couldn't follow it all the way through. And so I'm going to pass the baton.
No, you good. You good. And hearing it, obviously there's a piece of it that hurts because it's like, I was really hoping to be able to see this thing, and once again to see Josiah, the younger, to stretch, to grow, But I, honestly, when you told me through the text message that you had called my son and asked, and I was over here like, because nope, Josiah the elder at 17, no sir, nope, he was in what I called the forest of stupid.
I remember that.
I told he was in the forest of stupid, something terrible. And I'd be like, boy, where are you? Like, get out the forest of stupid. And I'm like, I'm not coming in there. I'm going to stand on the outskirts of this forest.
You might want to get out that forest before it get dark. You might want to. You're not okay.
You're not coming out. You gonna stay in there? Okay, I'm gonna pitch my tent on the outside of the forest, and I'm gonna leave a light burning for you, right? So you'll always know your way out. But really, truly, bro, at 17, no, no. And I was nowhere close to even in the headspace that you are with Josiah, the younger, at his age. I did not have that headspace when my son was 17.
No.
I didn't have that headspace. Not with him. I mean, he's 20, about to turn 21. And so even if we go 3 years, prior, when he was graduating high school, there was some things my son was just there. And I was like, God, I need you to do the greatest, the biggest, the most. I need you to do the most when it comes to a miracle with this Negro child of mine.
Yeah.
Because golly, if I don't see myself killing him almost every day. Okay?
You kept saying headspace, and I kept imagining like somebody about to be headless. That's what's about to happen.
Real talk. Headless horseman. Real talk. And so, just to see it, but like you
crane
said,
up in here.
Straight up Ichabod. Missing. Gone. And but like you said, even though there's a pause, it's not over, because your son is going through a particular season right now.
He is.
And I get where he is. Truly, I do.
I get it.
And also, you and I, we talked about this because of the fact that our children didn't grow up when we grew up. And they also didn't have, I would even say, the same measure of kinds of pressures. Their pressures exist. They're just different than what we experienced back when we were in the 90s, because he's a junior in high school. You graduated in 96. I graduated in 97, right? So we'd be going back to 95, all right? 1995, the world was different.
A little bit.
World was different. It was different. And there were some things from where you grew up, how he grew up, what he's exposed to, what you're exposed to, that is going to shape and mold how he's handling what he's handling.
Yeah.
Right? And as you know, even though you are your father's son, you are not your father.
I'm not.
Right? Mm-hmm. And how your father interacted with you is not the exact same of how you interact with your son. Mm-hmm. Okay? So these are factors, right? All these factors we got to play in with them. And to know, it's like, okay, even though this may have come to its pause, I know and believe by faith that there's going to come this season where he makes his turn, right? And he establishes himself. He understands life better. You'll grow by that time, right? And you'll grow in more. And you'll see a different dynamic of you and Josiah the younger, even if we fast forward to his junior year in college.
Yeah. I mean, you gave a word that I still believe, you was like, you're going to see one of these episodes, he's going to come into a place where he's going to hit a vein, and you're going to have this great exchange with him. I still believe.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that just because we're ending. That's the thing about a prophetic word. Like it'll take shape and come alive in ways that you don't always see.
Right.
And even when a thing apparently ends, that prophetic word is still very much alive.
Yes.
And can still very much return and not be useless and fulfill its purpose.
Right.
Even as the rains that God sends into the earth, as we talked about previously in Isaiah 55, 11 and 12, or 10 and 11 actually. So, I appreciate that word. I still believe in that word. I want to, we try to be more disciplined about having at least one scripture reference when we do these things. And so I was looking up Ephesians 6 and 4. And I remember quoting this to my dad when I was his age, actually. It says, "And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." Ephesians 6 and 4. And so I don't want to provoke him, even though I feel provoked. And that pettiness in me came out, bro. The thing that also disgusted me about myself, the pettiness came out of me. I was like, man, if he even asked me for something,
my gosh,
if he even asked me for something right now, I'm gonna be like, nope. And I'm like, that shows that there's still growth that's needed in me.
Yeah.
Because the fact that that thought even occurred, like that's not how God thinks. That's why he said, my thoughts are as high above your thoughts as the heavens are above the earth. Because I'm like, dang it, I'd be doggone if Petty. I can't even think of Petty Murphy came out, right?
Not
like,
Petty Murphy. Come
yeah,
on.
man. Like, yeah. Wish he would ask me something while I'm out here.
Wish you would.
And so there's still some growth for me. I quoted this to my dad when I felt like he was provoking me, or it used whatever version of the Bible we were reading. It said, "Do not molest your child," and I was like, okay, we got to get a new version because that don't sound right.
It don't sound right.
But this version says, King James, "Do not provoke your child until to wrath," and I don't want to do that for either of my children, in my flesh. But it's still there. I got some apologizing to do. I believe, even if they don't feel like they have some apologizing to do to me, him specifically. That's not why you apologize, not to get it reciprocated, but to extend kind of like hey, I could have handled that better.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we go through these hurts. We hit brick walls. We have a tendency to fall in ditches. Things end up not completing the way they want to, but the thing is that we're growing something in our children. And they've even got to be able to see it, because there are going to be times where things aren't able to finish what they start.
That's real.
And they need to be able to see how to handle that, right? And because, and once again, yes, ideal world, utopia, right? Everything that you start, you finish. That'd be great, but not everything gets that, okay? Mm-hmm. And once again, like you said, with the scriptures, yes, you always count your costs and you go forward in those things in certain projects. But there's certain things you will endeavor out, and then you find out you got to turn right back around and come out. You might have launched out into the sea, but then by the time you got where you were going, you figured out, I can't finish this journey. I have to turn back around. Mm-hmm. And if you have to recalibrate, you got to recalibrate, right? If you got to reset, you got to reset. And it's a good thing. And with Josiah, the elder, there was some things that he definitely needed to come to before we could ever have what we have for Tears of the Sun.
Sure.
And he knows that. Because he used to irritate the absolute stank out of me. And I'd be like, Jesus, Lord, I am going to commit a 187 today. It's going to happen.
Not a 187.
I'm going to take him out, and I'm going to make another one. I was like, Jesus, Lord. I don't know whose child this is. But within his time of going to college, separating from me.
That's the part.
Okay.
Yes.
With him being able to get from what up underneath his parents' roof. And then also, when it came to the faith thing, he even admitted, he was like, me being away caused me to no longer ride y'all coattails. Mm-hmm. So then now I had to be face to face with God myself. I had to be face to face with, do I know how to lean on him? Myself. Yeah. Do I know how to trust him? Myself. Right? And that has opened up a whole other dynamic in Josiah the elder. Right?
Yeah.
And so now he sees, and within that, as you talked about in our previous one concerning the seeds that we've sown, now my son comes back with a dad, these things that you gave me.
He's healing you in the process.
Bro, straight up. And that's what I told you. If you remember, I said, you hear me, Reggie, it's going to come. Mm-hmm. You're going to see it. Mm-hmm. Once he turns a specific corner in his life, you're going to see all that you've sown into your son, and it's going to come back. Because when I was there, I was, Father, Lord, I'm wasted.
Not the he put a T on it. Did you hear it?
Lord.
Lord. Oh no.
Whoo, God, I don't know. You know, and once again, like my son was out there just wilding out. You know what I'm saying? Just doing whatever. But there was just
I gotta. He wasn't doing whatever though.
he wasn't out there just doing whatever.
Yeah.
He wasn't like that.
Still, yeah.
Yeah. But there was just those elements of stuff in his head. And I'm like,
Did you think that through at all?
is the synapses in your brain working and firing, or are we not comprehending, right?
Yeah.
He had a resistance against us that he couldn't measure it. He didn't understand why his resistance was there.
Yeah, I've seen small windows of what's to come. When I went to, this is not intended to be a flex, whatever. When I went to Hawaii,
Yeah.
I noticed that he was a little more, he was texting me a little bit.
Word.
I was like,
Word.
he never initiates text.
Yeah.
He always responds with 1 or 2 words when I text.
Right.
And so I noticed that, and I'm like, that absence makes the heart grow fonder
Makes the heart
thing
grow
is real.
fonder.
And I can't get that now
Right.
until he leaves and goes off on his own. And what him and I were going to talk about that ended up being the thing that the nail in the coffin for this season of Tears of the Sun for the Keys was I was like, hey, look, what I wanted to talk about is You're No Longer My Son. That was going to be the title, ironically. And it wasn't about me. Whenever you hear that phrase, it's somebody who is disowning their child for something they've done.
Disowned. You being excommunicated from the family.
But I was going to flip it on his ear and say, you know what? You were never more my son than you were God's.
That's it.
And so in that, it was me coming to the realization that I have to let you go. Yep. And there are some things that I don't see you developing right now that I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
But that when you leave, your real father is going to cultivate those things in you more than I ever could.
Right.
I've done my part, but the part, he who is going to sustain you when you go out so that I have my peace,
Right.
is our Father who's in heaven.
Right.
And so in that regard, you're no longer my son.
Yeah.
When he leaves, he becomes my brother. He is my brother now.
Right.
But the lordship, God's fatherhood is going to, I don't want to say take over because it's already very much active now, but it's going to be enhanced.
We decrease
so that he might increase.
That's right.
So
we decrease, and that's it. And that's a healthy transition.
It is.
It's a healthy transition, and if enough fathers can understand that there's a season for everything. There's a season where you got to be 100% hands-on with your child. Mm-hmm. Then there comes a season where you don't need to be as hands-on with them because now they have to have the opportunity to fall, fail, or flow on their own.
Yeah. The paradox is you got to take your hands off while you still embrace them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to be able to work both of those, right? And to let them know because anytime they turn around, they should still be able to see you.
Sure. You outside the forest is stupid.
Right.
Took the light on for you.
I just left the light on.
Just not going in.
I'm just not going in, but I'm gonna leave the light on for you. So you'll anytime you wake up and you look around, you can always know. Oh, Dad's right there. Dad's right there.
Yeah.
The light because I see the light on, and you'll always know your way out of it. But there comes that moment where, because even with Josiah, when he was going through his financial, and there's a piece of me, because I remember there was a piece of me where I was over here like, Lord, I just want to pay it for him.
Sure.
And just because that's the dad in me, right?
But you need it.
But then there's the Father, the Heavenly Father that was like, he needs to.
Let me show him.
He needs to learn this from me. Mm-hmm. So then I released it to my son. Let's pray. And you need to learn to trust the Lord. And he learned how to lean with it with God. And now he's got it.
Got to lean with it though?
Yeah, he had to lean with it though.
Fat Joe?
He had to lean with it. Yeah. So it's good, man. And
after we dab, can you just hold me a little bit? Feel like a second and a half, so it don't get weird. Like
just hold your boy. I'm here with you, bro. I got you. That's that good man embrace.
Yeah.
It's the man embrace. It's when it goes from more than just a dap to actually coming in and hold on to a brother. Got you. Yeah. So, but this is Key and Kier's
Kingdom Connection.
Hey, and it's real and it's raw, and we want to make sure we give it and serve it to you guys because we want you to understand. We understand.
Yep.
What men go through, what fathers go through, what husbands go through. We understand it, and we're here with you and here for you anytime you need us.
Salute.
Love you, homeboy.
Yes, God.
That might have been 2 seconds though.
It's
It's okay.
okay.